scoring football team a high school could ever wish for. Thank you.
The Hope Superband performing at halftime during the Hope Warren game will return for the second half with Randy and Bubba. And The Prescott High School Band performing at halftime of the Prescott Hope game.
Marching Superband! Not the band is under the field direction of those magnificent Wonder Twins, Eric Kaufman and Floyd Smith. So please sit back, try to stay dry and enjoy the band's slippery when wet performance of William Mitchell.
The Hope Superband performing at halftime of the Hope Arkadelphia game.
Showtime! And for your halftime entertainment tonight, the Arkadelphia Public Schools proudly present the People's Pick in 96. The band with the Motown sound. The Arkadelphia High School Marching Band! popular hit made famous by the movie Go. Unchained Melody.
And that was the Arkadelphia High School. of the Hope and Prescott High School marching bands. The Hope Band traveled to the Vanderbilt Marching Contest. Here's a report on the performance from the Superband staff.
This is a performance of the 1996 Nashville, Tennessee Vanderbilt Marching Invitational. This is the Hope High School's performance at 2:47 in the afternoon.
Field Commander, is Hope High School ready to perform? Hope High School, you may enter the field for competition.
That was the Hope High School Band at the Vanderbilt Marching Invitational this last weekend, October the 12th, in Nashville, Tennessee. The band did really well. It was our first contest this year, and the closer that we put on the Thursday before. So we've been working really, really hard at this show. And we learned some things that we were doing wrong, and we also saw some good things at the contest. We were also lucky enough to see some very, very fine bands from all over the country, from Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, New York, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi. We saw some very good bands. We were the only band from Arkansas, and I think we represented our state fairly well. The kids did a good job. It was a long trip, 12 hours down there. We turned around, took a nap that night, I guess you'd call it, about 8 hours. Got up the next morning, went to the contest, did our job, and got back on the bus and drove that 12 hours all the way back here for Sunday morning. Really quick trip. In less than 48 hours, we went down, did a contest, and came back. That's a big trip for the kids. The other bands we saw there gave our kids an idea of what we're shooting for in the years to come. We also took 30 midgets with us, which are our junior high helpers with the high school band. They did an excellent job. We had lots of chaperones. Almost had more parents than we did kids. So next time, we're going to try to hold back on the chaperones maybe a little bit. But the parents were tremendous. When we got down there, they saved us a little money this year. They grilled burgers and fed us lunch and dinner on that Saturday, which was really nice. We had our own little area cordoned off there, and we had a little place in the shade where we could eat our dinner, and our parents were grilling burgers over at the side and hot dogs. It was really nice. We had a very good time, lots of fun and fellowship, and a very big learning experience for us.
With the Vanderbilt contest under our belt, we have 2 more contests coming up. We have October 26th, the Central Arkansas Marching Contest, Saturday in Little Rock. So this weekend we'll be taking a break, and then we'll participate next weekend in that contest. Following that contest, we'll have the Region 3 Marching Contest in Arkadelphia, Arkansas at Henderson State University. That will be on October 29th, a Tuesday evening. And in addition to those 2 contest performances, we also have band night that we have scheduled in November, and then we also have all of our halftime performances scheduled for the rest of our Friday night football games. Everything went really well for the contest this past Saturday. The objective for taking our students to this contest is to get experience and exposure in seeing what's going on out of state, seeing what large band programs are doing, 4As, 5As, in several different states that we don't get to see in our area. Patrick Faircloth is a student teacher that we have here with us this fall. He's been in charge of preparing our midgets. We have 31 midgets from the junior high, 7th and 8th grade, and they went with us this first time. They did a wonderful job. It was their very first contest, very first time in a really big stadium. They handled the pressure really, really well, and they did a superb job. We have Mr. Aaron Seal, who's taking care of our percussion section. He's been working the battery and the pit percussion and helping them prepare their show performance. And he may want to give you a couple of comments about Saturday's show and then what they have planned.
Saturday went real well for us. We always enjoy going to that contest because it is such a wonderful place to play in. It's a huge stadium, and it gives the kids a little experience before they go into that Little Rock contest. Maybe takes a little bit of the nervous edge off of the students. So I'm glad we got that out of the way for our first contest, and going to Little Rock, it looks really, really well for us. There's going to be a tremendous load of competition there again this year, but I think we're going to be doing real well for that contest.
So finishing up this week, the next 2 weeks we have our down weeks. We do have a game against Lake Hamilton this coming Friday, and then the game the next Friday. This weekend is off for us. Thank goodness, finally a week for the kids to take a break. No rehearsal, no contest. We will be working hard, though, during the week. We have 2 Tuesday night rehearsals this week and next week. So around 7 o'clock, 7:30, if your family feel like it, or you're just sitting around the house with nothing to do, you just finished dinner, why don't you come out to Hammond Stadium and see us rehearse? It might be something fun for the kids to see. It might be something fun for you to do after dinner. Also, we will be doing some more fundraisers here in the near future, getting ready for our Orlando trip in the spring. So if a band student comes by to you, don't spook them off with a broom or a shotgun or anything like that. Try to help us out with that if you could. We are having some, we always have our fundraisers this time of year, and it is a big trip for us to the NASSP convention in the spring. From all the staff here at Hope High School Band, we'd like to say thanks and keep up the support.
last week's performances of the Hope and Prescott High School marching bands. We now have a report on the Hope Superband.
Hi, I'm Jeff Madlock.
And I'm Aaron Seal.
And sit back and relax and watch the band's performance from October 18th, 1996 as we go against Lake Hamilton.
Hope you enjoy it.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye. band blowing or what?
I tell you, it really was. You know what really got me was the new drum major that we hired.
Yeah, he's cute, wasn't he?
Nice job.
Yeah, he looked good in his uniform.
Very attractive. Very attractive.
Hi, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yes, that was me on the podium this last Friday night. Due to an unexpected emergency right before we left, actually, to go there, we found out that our drum major, Eric Coffin, couldn't make it. He had a death in the family. So they threw me up on the podium, and it might have looked like they threw up on the podium, but that was actually me on the podium. We had a good time. The kids are really blowing. Beside the fact that it was 22 below zero outside, I got to wear some nice leather black gloves, as you got to see. The kids were really blowing their heads off. As you can tell, we switched some stuff in the show. We moved the ending to the middle and the middle to the end. And the kids really like it. We really like it. It plays a lot better, drives a lot more energy. And as you can tell, the kids blew their heads off all the way to the end. The percussion we're definitely on. Everybody seemed to be on that night. Percussion, especially the pit seemed to be coming along pretty well.
They really are. We've had a lot of rehearsals outside of a regular band class, and doing some extra practices really pays off for them. It's a good group of kids. They're working really hard. The main thing is we just need to spend a little more time on our own stuff. I know in band class sometimes we get bogged down with trying to fix overall pictures and overall problems, and a lot of times we don't have time for the detail work. And the extra rehearsals that we called has really helped shape that real well. And it looks real good for us going into our contest on, is that November 2nd?
November 2nd,
contest.
yeah.
Looks real good for us going down to Louisiana, and I hope to see a lot of good bands down there.
Yeah, this year we're not going to make it to the Little Rock Central Arkansas Marching Championship due to an ACT scheduling conflict. So this year they couldn't schedule us where we need to be. We have 26 students taking the ACT, so that's caused a big scheduling conflict. Oh well, so they won't have the best band there this year for the Governor's Cup. They'll have to give it to some other band. Well, next year we'll be back with them. This year the band's looking really good. We have a lot of young kids in our band, a lot of 9th and 10th graders. It should work out pretty well. Playing the music of Les Miserables, that is the music from the novel by Victor Hugo and the Broadway play, which is not by Victor Hugo, and actually it's by Cameron McIntosh is who the Broadway play is by. How did I know that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Cameron McIntosh is who wrote the Broadway play. 10 years, 13 years on Broadway. It's a big core thing. The cores like to do this show. A lot of the larger high schools in other states like to do this show. I know everyone out there has been going, what is this music that the band is playing? It's Les Miserables. Anyway, it's a really good show. The kids like it a lot. They feel pushed by it. They should. It's professional music. We stole it from the Cadets of Bergen County show in 1989, verbatim. It's really pushing our 9th and 10th graders so that down the road, as we start to ease up and get ourselves back into pop shows, yes, be watching for those rock shows next year, we should be able to blow your hair off your head and actually tear down Hammond Stadium, which they don't want us to do. But I think if you watch the band, our talent in the band, our musical ability in the band is really increasing, and we're looking forward to, as Aaron said, Northwestern University on November the 2nd, and this Friday we will be playing against Ashdown here at Hammond Stadium. Pre-game's at 7, the game's at 7:30. Don't want to miss it. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Next time.
Right
Right
later.
here on CCT.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye. CCT.
Jeff Matlock and Aaron Sill, two of the Hope Superband directors.
And the soloistic talents of Angela McCool, Laura Norman, Brandon Ortega, and instructor. The band will now present its version of the Broadway smash hit, Les Miserables.
Hill, Assistant Director.
And hi, I'm Jeff Medlock, the other Assistant Director. Please sit back and relax and watch our performance from the Northwestern State University Marching Contest this last Saturday, where we happened to do fairly well here on CCT.
Hope High School Band, you may take the field for your performance.
Hi, and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed our performance from this Saturday. I'm going to try to slow down and talk a little slower. This Saturday we had a great last contest. We took ones in all divisions, percussion, drum major, and auxiliary. We made a 2 overall with the band, which didn't pull us down any because we turned right around and took the most entertaining band award, which really gave us a big boost for the kids. And really showed them that, hey, you know what, this is an entertaining show. Also, last Tuesday, we did region contest in Arkadelphia, which we told you about on the last show. We did very well at region, and we made straight ones. One of the only bands out of, I think, around 8 bands that made straight ones, and luckily we were one of them. And also a big congratulations to Jonathan Kelly and the Prescott Band for making ones at region. They were in the same group with us. Had a great show this year, and I know he's looking down the road to playoffs, and I think hopefully we are too. Bobcats playing Lakeside this Thursday night, and it should be a really good game. But back to this Saturday. Really nice trip. We came up around 9:30, did a run through, got on the bus around 10:30, left around 11, and got down there around 2:30. Gave the kids good time to relax, get a bite to eat, get their uniforms on. Very relaxed contest. Did the gig, took a picture. Went back in the stands, got to see the Northwestern State University Band, which is a fine band, let me tell you. And then got our awards and came home. Had a really good trip. Really good trip for our junior high midgets, the 30 midgets that we have, to see what's in store for them. Speaking of the midgets, we actually added something I think you'll be seeing this Thursday night. Mr. Faircloth, could you tell us what we finally added to this midget deal going on back there?
Well, we finally got to add the screen, which we talked a little bit about in the last show, which was painted by Kathy Ingersoll, one of the high school band parents. And it was two sections to the screen. It was 10 feet tall, correct, and 12 feet wide. And it really added a lot to the show, and it hid the midgets a little better.
Yeah, also at this contest we made a 1 in percussion and turned around the Tuesday before, and actually back the Tuesday before, and made a 1 in percussion at region also. Our percussion have come a long way this year. Mr. Seal, tell us a little bit about the age group. I think our crowd would like to know, actually this is a rebuilding year for our percussion.
It really is. Strangely enough, you would think that coming off of last year, we graduated a lot of students, and we have some young kids this year, so you would think that we'd be on a really down year. Unfortunately, it's a nice problem to have. We're doing rather well. And luckily, we'll only lose 2 students off of the drum line and 3 out of the pit next year. So things are really up and up for percussion. They've come a long ways this year. I'm really excited about going into playoffs. I think we're looking really sharp. Another thing I'm really happy with is at the contest Saturday, I think we saw the most improvement out of the auxiliary section. And I know Kim Matlock's been doing a lot of work with them, and they got a first division rating at the contest and looked really sharp. And it adds so much to our visual program down there. I'm really happy with it.
I agree. Ms. Matlock, tell us a little bit about the auxiliary.
Well, this past summer we brought in for the first time an auxiliary instructor who created all of our routines and gave us ideas on what to use as silks to help enhance our general effect. And the auxiliaries, consisting of 21 girls, led by Chrissy Hendricks, they are the ones that give as much of the general effect score for us as any other group. And with their visuals and their color and everything, they did a super job Saturday. Jason Bradshaw, their guard instructor, taught them their routines in August, and then led by their captains of each of their squads. They came out Saturday. At one point, they had 4 different pieces of equipment. They were the only auxiliary line that displayed that type of talent and skill and ability. And I know that all of the judges that made comments gave very positive, encouraging comments to the girls and to the effect that they gave to the show. And so we really do appreciate all the hard work that they put into that.
Like we said, this last Saturday at Northwestern was a great way to end our contest season for this year. Now we are looking forward and ahead, particularly to Christmas time. It's getting right around the corner. We have 2 junior high bands this year at the junior high. We're going to split those. 108 kids, 110 kids between 2 grade levels. So we've got quite a number of children down there. Also, we haven't talked a lot about the 6th grade. Our 6th grade class this year is awfully large, 119 kids, 120 kids, 113 kids in the 6th grade beginnings band class. As you can tell, These three have a hard time. I don't. They teach the classes over there. We split them up. So our Christmas programs this year will be rather large, a big Christmas gala, I guess you could call it. And you want to make sure you catch those. But definitely this Thursday night, the last time you'll see us until playoffs. Now, see, we're being very optimistic here. We know we can do it. If anybody can take us into playoffs, the Bobcats can. We're very optimistic that we will be going on to playoff games, but the last home game you're going to see us at probably this year, unless we come back for playoffs, is this Thursday night against Lakeside. You don't want to miss it. And if you're wondering, no, Les Mis will not be the theme for next year, and we will also be kind of taking a big about face for all those people who are like, man, the band's just really confused me this year. We're going to put something on the field next year that I promise you're going to love. And you'll know every tune. You can sing along. In fact, we have a bouncing ball down on the field. You can follow along with the words. You want props? Baby, have I got props. We're going to give you a little bit of everything. We're going to try to make sure that when you leave the ball games, you're not only going, man, the Bobcats played a great game, and one that you're going to leave going, my gosh, it would have been great if we didn't have that 30-minute halftime for the band to take all their stuff off the field. So make sure you keep supporting the athletic department and the whole band boosters and the band department here, because we are working hard to give this community what they need. Please be with us this Thursday night. Catch Lakeside here against the Bobcats, and you also get to the Lakeside Band and the Hope High School Superband in performance on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. A pregame at 7, game at 7:30. We'd like to thank CCT for coming by today, and have a nice day.
On the corner to the concert and confidence of Flats with the Pigeon Shire, and the soloist and talent of Angela Corker, Roy Harmon, Brandon Oliver, and Vincent McDougall. The band will now perform the show which is indicative of the band's performance ability. The show, which is based upon the popular volumes of Les Mis, with an S, an adaptation of the classic Victor Hugo novel, Les Miserables, which chronicles street life in Paris during the French Revolution. Sit back, relax, for the Superband's performance of Les Miserables. Captain Fred Smith Kaufman, Esquire, the band now performs their version of Les Miserables. Sit back and relax to the sounds of Broadway.
followed by the Hope Jazz Cats. The introduction is being made by Assistant Band Director Jeff Madlock.
I'd like to welcome you tonight to what we have dubbed our pre-convention concert. If you were here, if you came to the Eclipse Auditorium on Tuesday night, you got to hear the pre-contest concert given by the Yerga Junior High Band. Really, really nice. Go ahead, you can take that back there. Let's take it on back there. This is our convention tunes for the National Association of Secondary School Principals. The first group to play will be the concert band. This is comprised of, don't get me lying, it's inside the program, 74 students of 9 through 12. A lot of good work gone into this. We are cleaning up the edges, and by next Friday, we should be really smooth and polished. I hope you like the tunes we've chosen. We tried to pick a nice plethora of tunes that would be very entertaining to all audiences. This group is conducted by Mrs. Kim Madlock, and their first tune will be March the Belgian Paratroopers.
The next tune to be played by the band will be a nice piece by Jay Sudduth. Really nice piece. Latin, have no idea what it means. Bring on the band, something like that, not really sure. Really nice piece, Dona Nobis Pacem. The next tune, I think everyone will really enjoy. We really enjoy playing it. Jim Barnes arranged this tune, and something about Jim Barnes, he doesn't arrange anything. This is the only tune he's ever arranged. He's a very, very well-known composer. And he arranged this tune. It's The Wizard of Oz, and the kids really like playing it. It's a very, very difficult tune to play. It's what we like to call in the band world is a tune of transitions. It just changes, changes, changes. You'll hear a little bit of everything. My theme song, If I Only Had a Brain, will be played on the tuba. It's a lovely piece. Great piece of music. I think you really enjoy it. The kids really enjoy playing it. I hope you enjoy listening to it. The Wizard of Oz. really, really nice tune. That one makes me feel good inside. One thing we've been very lucky about this, I'd like to point out two people really quick in this section. They're noted in the program, but Miss Madlock's been nice enough to let us play with this group. As band directors, we play every day, but sometimes we don't get to play the music. First off, on one of our new members here, Assistant Director, Mr. Patrick Faircloth on bass clarinet. Want to stand? There he is. He's going to move the clarinet for this next song. In the back, I think he ran and hid. Mr. Seal. Mr. Seal? Aaron Seal? Where'd he disappear to? He went in the back and hid. This next tune is a fun little tune. At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral, there he is. He's worn out. He's been playing on every tune. This next piece is a really fun piece that we threw in as our last tune. At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral. I'm no percussionist, but they let me dabble on the drums, so I'm going to play set on this one. At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral. I forgot something. This piece is really neat. You'll recognize the tune right off when we start this piece. It starts out with a dirge, and as any New Orleans jazz funeral, it starts out with a dirge to mourn the loss of a loved one. Then it turns into a party because we all know that they go into a better place. In the front, we have a great Dixieland jazz combo consisting of our tuba soloist, Simeon Ames, trombone player Torrey Smith, trumpet player Eric Kaufman, Mr. Faircloth, and Kendria Muldrow on clarinet. Now I think we're ready for At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral. This is the looser group. We have a good time. We meet every day, fourth period. This is the Hope High School. We named ourselves this year the Hope High School Jazz Cats. Hot group, best jazz band I've ever had. Got some all-state players in here, got some all-region jazz band players in here. We're a great rhythm section. This guy right here on the drums, he's hot. He's hot, just hot, okay? This group consists of a lot of folks. Some folks aren't on the thing. In my haste, as I was filling out the program, I forgot the bari sax player. The bari sax is as large as she is, so that's why I never noticed her down there. I just hear this big noise. Misty Kuhn on bari sax. I left her off. We also picked up some people. We picked up Torrey Smith's going to play trombone with us today because he's a great player. He wanted to sit in. I said, sure, come on, have a good time. This first thing we're going to play, luckily, Mr. Brown asked us to play Saturday morning at the convention. We opened the second session of the NASSP convention. We're pretty excited. We play for 25 minutes. We're going to have a good time, maybe get people dancing. We got new uniforms. We got some nice blue jean shirts with our logos right here. We look real cute. This first tune's called Get It On. Then we're going to give our bass player time to switch instruments. At the bottom of your program, you'll notice it says we only use an acoustic bass to get the true wood sound for jazz. Kyle Finley, all-state jazz bass player, first band, started playing about 2 years ago, taking lessons from somebody. I don't know who it was. But I have to tell you, he's much better than I ever was and I ever will be. And he's a great bass player. He's going to switch over. We're going to play some real jazz now. That was a rock tune. We like to play rock because it's fun. I told you I have a great drummer. So now we're going to switch over. We're going to do a great standard by Duke Ellington, Sea Jam Blues. Really fast tune. Gonna let them take a breather a second. I forgot they just played a band concert before they did this. Usually we have a little rest. Usually they have math and that kind of stuff before this, and they get a little rest in there. This next tune, we're going to slow it down. This is a Sammy Nestico tune. It comes from a little purple book we found way back in the old band library, and it's called All Weekend. It comes from episode, was it 16, something like that, of Charlie's Angels, the pool scene. Sammy Nestico wrote a lot of television. And we like this tune. It's a nice little rockish, jazzish ballad by Sammy Nestico called All Weekend.
Community College Auditorium.
We're all really tired. Last tune we're going to do for you tonight, we're gonna skip Birdland. I'm sorry. It's a really hard chart, but their chops are they're telling me they're hurting. So we're going to jump to our last tune, Salsa Amigo, which I think means salsa friend, tomato friend. I'm not sure. I don't speak fluent Spanish. Not really sure. This tune is a really fun tune, and we have a good time playing it. If I start dancing, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to, but we have a really good time doing it. If you like to dance, you're welcome to. Whatever. One last time, I forgot someone else in the trumpet section. She couldn't be here tonight, Amanda Price. She also plays flugelhorn with our trumpets. So yes, we have an awfully large 20-piece big band, 25-piece big band. Nice group. Last tune, Salsa Amigo. Thank you, thank you. The Hope High School Jazz Cats. If you'd like to see us, our next show will be in Orlando at the Orlando Convention Center, Saturday morning. Thank you for coming out tonight.